Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Bullet Cat and this is an extra episode of No Rest for the Wicked. Also, welcome back from Memorial Day weekend for all my viewers who are in the United States. I hope you had a great weekend. I know I did. It was a good break away from a couple of things. So yeah, that was enjoyable. I hope you had a good time too. But we are back and I just wanted to do an extra episode for the time being of No Rest for the Wicked because I kind of like where we ended off. I mean, obviously we had to end off because we got to the end of the early access content. However, what you saw me do is run through the Crucible one time and get to the boss and get absolutely annihilated in kind of like 2 hits. And at the time, it kind of felt like that would be impossible for me to show on camera because I might just take too long. Anyway, since then, I have played a fair amount more off screen and I've actually tried another build, which is the one I'm using now. But I also wanted to just kind of show you a run through the Cerim Crucible and beating the boss at the end. So yeah, let me get through a couple of the admin kind of things. This is my new character. I went for a strength build this time. His name is Gloopy. Welcome to Gloopy. Nice old man with a balding head, but he is very strong. And I've really enjoyed this build. It's a little bit different from my Dex build. I obviously still have access to the Dex build, but I haven't played it in a while. This one is a little bit more focused because I kind of felt like I knew what I was doing a bit more. But I'm just using a one-handed sword. So I played in the beginning of this playthrough for a while. I tried using a shield. I just never really got good at parrying, and I just enjoy moving around and dodging a bit more. So it felt unnecessary to add to my weight class by unnecessarily equipping a shield. Even though I do have all the slots accessible now, all I'm using is this one-handed sword. So it's one that I got right near the beginning. I've just upgraded a lot, and I socketed it with some gems to have some extra cold damage. I gain health on kills. I have the diamond slotted for gaining more experience, but also losing experience on death. That's obviously redundant at this point because due to coming to the end of the early access content, I can't level up anymore. So in theory, I should find another decent blood-rusted sword if I'm going to keep using it and upgrade that one. It just takes a lot of resources to upgrade, so I'm okay with kind of losing that gem slot. I also gain 1% focus on damage dealt, so that's just an extra little bit. What is really useful are the runes I have equipped. So naturally, it comes with the spinning attack rune, which is this flipping one. What's really nice about that, as opposed to like the scimitars using with my Dex build, that main attack rune costs 100, whereas this costs 50, as you can see in the bottom left of the screen there in the X slot. So that means I can get a lot more of those off, and they do good poise damage, good damage, and actually allow me to move forward during the attack, which is really nice. But I also made sure to equip on my Y button the, what's it called again? Let me have a look. The damage surge. That's it. Yeah, it just adds damage to my attacks for a decent amount of time, and I can just keep using that as I go forward. I have the blink. Now, this for me is almost the most important rune in the game, at least for the way I play. So because I'm not blocking, I'm dodging. This blink skill, I'll give you a look at what it looks like here. It just teleports you forward a little bit. Now, that's pretty good. But the best part about it is that if you are facing, and this is any enemy in the game, if they have started an attack, so obviously the attack animation, and you blink, their tracking is lost. So they don't track you. So some of the enemies have fairly lengthy attack moves, like 2 or 3 movements. And if you blink at the start of it, they're going to keep attacking in a straight line without being able to focus on you, which really gives you time to kind of run up behind them and get backstabs, which do huge damage. And you'll see me doing a bit of that when I do the Crucible run. But yeah, that's just a tip. You get access to this rune. I think you still get access to it. I haven't actually checked the enchantment store since the most recent patch, but that's where I got it once you get it to level 3. So kind of rush that store as quick as you can to build it up through the Doran building projects. You can buy blink and attach it. It only costs 25 focus. Absolutely game changing for me at least, and hopefully it'll be useful for you. The other one I equipped, this is not a combat one, but it's on the B button. It's called Return. Really useful just for quality of life and moving around the world, especially as you are grinding and farming, trying to get resources, levels, etc. It teleports you from wherever you are straight back to, I won't actually use it now, it has a bit of a long power up, but you have to do that and keep holding it until he raises the sword or weapon aloft, and then you teleport straight back to Sacrament. They said Sanctuary, don't know why I thought of Borderlands, but there we go. So yeah, it teleports you back to Sacrament, and that for me has been so useful because it's cut down so much time on running around and not really doing much. But yeah, that's the weapon I have equipped. The other interesting thing I thought to note, like if you look at the requirements, this only requires 10 strength. It's a starting game weapon. I'm not 100% sure I understand how this all works. Obviously, I've pushed my strength to 42, which is the max for at least as I've seen so far for weapon requirements. However, the swords and weapons, especially the one-handed sword, I think it's called the Governor's Sword or something like that, that requires 42 strength. I got one of those. I upgraded it with the ingots and all that kind of stuff to its max level, and it wasn't doing as much damage as this blood rusted sword. And so I'm a bit confused about that. Of course, you still want to put into the strength if you're using a strength weapon because it adds, as you can see, I have an attribute bonus of 16, so that takes, with the base, it takes up to a total of 50. So you still want to have that strength, but in theory, it's like, well, you could have just 10 strength and use this weapon and not have that attribute bonus and just like pump a ton into stamina and health and even equipment load and focus, all that kind of stuff. However, of course, the pumping into the main attribute is going to give you the damage bonus. So I guess it just kind of depends how you want to play. If you want to do like not as much damage but move around like crazy fast and have a ton of focus, you could do that. Like I don't 100% understand the advantage that the higher requirement weapons actually give. At least the one that I tried. It did less base damage, so I didn't really get that. But maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's something they're going to change as they move forward out of early access. Who knows? Anyway, that's kind of what I've discovered. The other thing you'll notice, so I have a good amount of health, good amount of stamina. Focus is at 16. That seems to be enough for me because of the other gems that I have equipped. The other thing you'll notice is that I'm now playing with a normal weight class. So with my dex build, I was playing the lightweight class, which means you can dodge and zip around really quickly. This one gives the roll, and I've actually found that as I've improved with my timing and all that kind of stuff, this dodge is actually fine for me. With the first time I played through, the really quick dodge with the dex build with a light weight class was kind of what I needed. But now that I have that blink and now that I'm a bit better, this is great. This works for me. And the better thing about that, at least for me, because I'll still mistime things and get too aggressive with my attacks, is I'll still take hits. But now I get to really have a much higher armor stat. So I've got much heavier armor things, which adds to the weight, of course, but it means much higher defense. So my armor, as you can see at the top there, is now 1096. I should have checked this. I can't remember what my dex build's armor was. I could load it up, but I'm too lazy to do that. I think I only had like 400 or 500. So now I've like more than doubled the armor that I have, which is great because I can take hits and barely feel them. As you know, I mean, I'll still die if I'm not careful. I can't just go guns blazing and not worry about taking damage. But yeah, this higher armor is just way better for me, and I can still maintain this weight class. I'm right at the upper edge of it, but it's great. So yeah, that's just something else to note for any of you who are struggling. I don't know if yeah, it just kind of depends on your play style, but this is I found really worked for me. So Gloopy with his normal weight class and strength build is really going great. So I have these four heavier and more kind of higher armor rating equipment things equipped. Sorry, I don't know why I can't think of the right words to say, but there we go. I only have these two things fully upgraded just because it takes so many silver ingots to upgrade these. I think in order to start upgrading to the next few levels, I have to have 10 silver ingots. I had to do that for each of them, so it's really, really time consuming to do that because as far as I know, there's only two places you can reliably get silver ingots in the game. There's one place you can mine it that's in that Iona's cave or whatever it's called that you access through the Auburn Glades, and then there's one in the quarry. You have to climb up a bunch of vines in order to get it. But so it takes a long time. But that's also why, and you'll see that I do this as you go through the Crucible. Check all the chests and maybe even check all the little items lying on the ground because occasionally you'll get silver or even silver ingots, which is great. But yeah, as you can see, there's still two items that I need to upgrade more, so that'll take my armor even higher, which will be great. But yeah, I have decreased weight in 3 of them. That allows me to keep the normal weight rating. I've got increased health, increased focus, which means I didn't have to put as many points into my focus. And I've got increased armor. I've got increased healing effects. And that focus regen that you have on the helmet, I've found really useful, especially as you run around the game, because it just gives, it's not super fast, but it gives this passive regen to your focus, which is, yeah, been really helpful for me. So yeah, I've got increased plague resistance there. I haven't actually put another fourth and final gem into this one. I should probably check that at some point. But yeah, I also don't have a gem in this one. I noticed that basically all the gems you can slot into gloves simply reduce or simply add an effect on parry, and because I'm never parrying, that means the gems are basically useless. So I enchanted these to reduce the gem slots, but I gain 1% health and block, which I don't do, but I've got increased heat resistance and it decreased the weight. So I could probably find another version of these gloves and just keep trying them and keep enchanting till I get a really good set of enchantments. But for now, this is working just fine. Then the 3 rings I have is an armor increase of 22%, which is great because let's see, I've got 1096. If I unequip this, I already lose about 100 armor. So really useful to have that extra 22% there. Then I've got this Fierce Ring, I think it's called. Yeah, increased armor again of 17%, but increased damage dealt. That's a really good combo. And then I've still got the Agi Ring. You can find these a couple of them through the game and just compare. Obviously, they'll have different stat resistances like Heat, Cold, Electric, and Plague. The one thing of note is Plague actually becomes very important for the final boss of the Cerim Crucible because on top of doing a lot of physical damage, it builds up a lot of plague, and the poison effect from that, the kind of tick damage, is huge. So it's good to have plague resistance and also just try dodge attacks. So yeah, that's kind of the build that I have going at the moment. As you can see, 27 points in health, 24 stamina, the max strength, and yeah, focus and equipment load, just enough so that I can keep that normal weight class. But that's kind of where I'm at with this character, and I've found I'm really enjoying it as I move into more of the content as the game gets released and moves out of early access. I'll probably just keep playing with this one. As much as I enjoyed my Dex build, I've become a lot more comfortable with this, with the roll and the blink and just everything this build allows for me. The other thing I wanted to point out is they just released a big patch, so you can actually respec your character. It costs 1. I'm not actually going to do it, but as you see here, if I decrease my health points, it costs 1 fallen ember per point. And it looks like I've got 53 in my inventory right now. You can get a lot of these throughout the game. You can buy them, etc. But there's a cost to it. But it is nice that they added that in. That was something I was saying from quite early on. Is like there should be a way to respec. I'm glad they added that. I'm glad it has a cost. It's not just something you can do freely, but you can do it, which is great. So I could use this character and really play around with different builds, but I think I found the one that works for me the best. I'm not really an int guy. The faith one, I guess I don't see much difference to like the strength. It's like similar kind of one-handed weapons. So I'm kind of happy with the 2 builds I've tried. One day maybe I'll try and int build with staffs and casting basically spells, but for now, yeah, I'm happy with this. But just to take a note of that. So if you're playing and you're finding that kind of a build isn't working for you, need a respec. Obviously, you have to kind of get to the end of the early access content to access this, to get into this chamber, but it is there for you. And I think that's that on the admin side. So we're going to go ahead and do a Crucible run. They still haven't, you still can't access these. So even though I've beaten the first one, these aren't available yet. I assume that's going to be, I remember kind of talking about not knowing how I'd be able to beat these the first time after I tried this one, given that I couldn't even beat this one. But obviously I've beaten it several times now, but you can't access these yet. So I imagine those are going to be coming. Oh yeah, lastly, I have these 2 food items. The chewy steak is just for my everyday, but for the actual final boss fight, I use the sirloin here, the sirloin platter. It instantly restores 150 health, so that basically fully heals me, but it also increases health by 45 for 600 seconds, which is a really long time. So it's a really good food item for that final boss, because obviously you have the cooldown for food, but this heals a ton and gives you extra, so just good to have. And then whoopsie, there we go. I always have 20 of these large vials of focus. You can buy these from the potion guy in town once you have upgraded it fully. Always good to have because, again, especially in that final boss fight, which we'll get to, I promise, you have to use a ton of focus, or at least I do, with the constant blinking around to dodge attacks and stop his tracking, all that kind of stuff. The actual runic attacks use a lot of focus, so it's good to have as many of these as you can. And I think that's pretty much it for the consumables and items that I use. I don't really use bombs. Collected a bunch of runes that I want to try use at some point on other weapons, but that's kind of it. So let's go ahead and jump in. As you can see at the top left, I have a decent amount of focus. So I found that's all I need with the 16 points into focus, plus the gems that fortify that with my equipment. Yeah, that's really working well for me. So here we go. So for those of you who don't know how the Cerim Crucible works, basically there's a bunch of rooms that there's a limited number of types of rooms, but they get randomized each time you do a run. And if you look at the top right of the screen there, underneath the clock, it says Cerim Crucible 1. So this is the first floor. You go through 7 floors, and then on the 8th floor, you fight the big bad boss. So I can't guarantee that I'll be able to necessarily breeze through this. Or at least the normal floors I'll probably get through fine, but the boss fight is still really, really tricky, even though I've done it a couple times. But I'm going to try to do it first go. If I don't, I'll just edit out to when I'm back at that boss fight, and we'll keep going until I beat it, and you can see what happens. I apologize that you didn't see the first time me beating it, because that was, yeah, it was immense. Just took me so long to do, and it felt so good when I finally did it. But now with a bit of practice, I've done it a couple times. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the damage surge, and now I have the extra damage, and let's get going. I kind of want to show you, yeah, I'll be able to show you right now what this blink does. So let's get this guy focusing on me. And when he charges, I'll blink, and you see he just goes straight ahead. That allows me to, so that blink meant he can no longer track me, and I could just walk up behind him and get that backstab. The other thing to note is certain enemies can't be backstabbed, like this big guy who's waiting there. Big enemies can't be backstabbed, but blinking and stopping them being able to track you for a while is very, very useful nonetheless. All right. And the other thing is I've got a ton of money now. Doing these runs, you'll constantly be collecting these really high level items. It's really great because once you have your inventory fully unlocked using the iCore, yeah, you can just build up your money really quickly just by doing these runs. So yeah, that's it. Okay, let's get this guy. He's going to do this triple attack. And then I'm just going to jump in with my runic attack straight away. And he's gone. That's why I really like that spinning runic attack, because it's quick, it does a lot of damage, a lot of poise damage, and it costs only 50. Whoops, I did not time my dodge there. But there you can see, it's just like they start the attack, you blink, and they can't focus on you, which is great. I really hope they don't patch that out. I think it's still difficult enough that they don't have to take it out, but it really is awesome being able to stop enemies tracking you like that. Okay, no silver this time. The other thing you'll notice is I nearly fell off there. I think I've died at this point in the Cerim Crucible, I've died more times from falling than actually being killed by enemies. Oh, it's so annoying, but just gold. Or copper, actually. Did I can't remember if I heard this out. Okay, I did open up. So when you kill all enemies on the floor, you'll hear this kind of gargling noise, and the gate will open up to go to the next level. I did a lot of talking, so my damage surge ran out. I don't think I'm going to need to use my vials of focus now. I'm going to save them for the boss fight. All right, so we're on to level 2. Ooh, 2. Normally there's only one dude here, and the spell cast at the top. Didn't focus the right guy there. This can be tricky when there's 2, I will admit, just because, okay, there we go. Sometimes while you're trying to get the hit off, the backstab off, the other guy will interrupt you. But the nice thing is once you actually get that backstab going, you can't take damage, so it's a couple of iframes, which is really nice. Nice. All right. Yeah, this floor, it's so weird. It's sometimes just really tricky for me when there's 2 guys here, just because I find the timing of dodging and getting the backstabs a little bit tricky when there's another guy coming after me, but that time it went fine. But I've fallen off this floor so many times and died. It's really annoying. But again, you see there that blink? I know that there's often a guy waiting there for me, and I just blink as soon as he starts his attack. I want this guy to do his triple attack, because that's also a long attack kind of sequence. And yeah, it just means I can blink behind him and attack. Awesome. Get this guy to cast his fire. But yeah, being able to blink like that, I know I'm going to say it probably a bunch of times. Incredible though. It's just, yeah, it's great. I really hope they don't patch that out, because for my playstyle, it's great. And like I said, it doesn't make the game it doesn't make it just like impossibly easy. I'm lacking the word that I'm trying to say here, but you know, like there's still difficulty here. It doesn't make it trivial. That's the word. You know, there's still difficulty. You still have to be careful and time things, but it really is such a... Oh, that fire still does a decent amount of damage to me, but I'm glad I have that kind of life steal from killing enemies. Yeah, it doesn't make the blink doesn't make the game trivial. You still have to dodge because you can still take a lot of damage if you're not careful, and you got to time it, you know, correctly. But especially for these smaller enemies, that backstab, being able to blink, not only stopping their tracking, but also get behind them with the blink is great. All right, still no silver. Man, it's a bummer. Yeah, it's such a rare item, and you need so much of it to upgrade the equipment to full, but I get it. The equipment's, you know, as it gets upgraded, it becomes so powerful, so it makes sense that they're trying to limit the silver. But I'm sure as we progress, as we get more content, there's going to be... It's similar to how with the iron ore, you know, you have a lot of copper at the beginning, then you get to the quarry and there's a ton more iron. I'm sure there's going to be a quarry or something at some point where there's more silver and you're going to need, I don't know, like gold ingots or something. I guess we'll find out as time goes by. All right, so we're on to floor 3. Oh, this guy's like trapped there. Interesting. Okay, let's see. Can I climb out here? Nope. I can... Oh, maybe I can climb out here. Nice. Alright, I'm going to quickly do this. Hopefully he doesn't hit me. He did, but I got it off. Okay, no gong, so there's still an enemy up here. And I'm going to bet it's like a sword. Oh, I've never seen one of these big guys up here, I'll be honest. On this floor. Yeah, that spin attack is so good. Yeah, I've never seen one of those tall guys. There's the gong and the gate's open. I'm just going to go get this chest quickly. Yeah, on this floor in particular, I've never seen one of those giant tall guys up there. Still no silver. Come on! I need so much of it. Okay, so we're making good progress. On to floor number 4. Yeah, and like I said, there's only a set number of kind of types of floors, but they always kind of get randomized on each Crucible run. Sorry, buddy. Okay, now there's a little chest in this area here. New silver. Okay, so this is what's kind of nice about this is I can give a little scope out of what we've got up there. Oh, not used to seeing a guy there either. Yeah, can't do anything about my blink, can you? Nice. Ooh, Band of Calmness. What does that do? I forget. Focus increased by 100. Focus gain increased by 15. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's actually very good. Let me just have a look and see what my focus looks like if I equip it. Ooh, that's a huge amount of focus. Thing is, I don't really need that much though with the way I play, but the extra defense for me is really good, so I'm going to keep it up with that for now at least. Maybe one day I'll change and try that out because that was a lot of focus. That's crazy. Oh, I don't have my damage surge active. Whew, there's so much going on. I can't even see what's happening. Wow, okay, you can see my health really ticking down there. So that fire does a lot of damage. Let's get under here and activate this. Wait, is this guy like falling down? Yeah, okay, good, he fell down. That makes it a lot easier. Yeah, that fire attack I've noticed more than anything is very annoying. I also kind of hate that they can, once they've kind of started tracking you, they can attack you while they're climbing up. So That's probably the worst I've done on this floor for a while, but that's okay. All right, so there should be one more guy here, one of these giant guys. Feels fairly consistent, this floor at least, with having the big guy here. And we can go through. Nice. All right, it's floor 4 complete. So yeah, as you can see, I mean, I'm still susceptible to dying. Maybe, you know, for something, those kind of enemies having a higher fire resistance would go a long way. But I don't see my build changing anytime soon. So, okay, we've got 2 of those casters. Okay, they are gone. Oh, the other thing that's kind of interesting that they've added is you can now equip any weapon, even if you don't have the required, um, sorry, the required stats, but you get a massive damage decrease. So look at that. The two-handed greatsword requires 42 faith. I can equip it, but I lose 26. So it would be a 34 damage. This is actually interesting. So this, I wonder if they've changed the weapons. I haven't played since the patch and gotten a Governor's Sword. The Governor's Dagger is the Agi, or the Strength Agi, or Dex one, sorry. The Governor's Sword, I think, is just the straight 42 Strength one. But this is showing, so it's minus 30. I wonder if the base damage would be 34 without being upgraded. So if that's true, maybe they've improved all the top level items. This is a two-hander. I don't like the two-handers. The attack is too slow for my liking. Yeah, that'll be interesting. I'll have to see if I can get a Governor's Sword, and maybe it will actually be better than this Blood-Rusted Sword, which would be great because, yeah, I want incentive, not just extra damage from. That guy just fell through the floor. That's one thing they need to patch as well. Yeah, other than the incentive of extra damage from getting that high stat number, I also want the highest stat items to be better. You know, it doesn't make sense to me that the 42 strength requirement on the Governor's Sword doesn't equal a sword that did more damage. It was really weird to me that I could upgrade a base kind of entry level weapon and it does just as much, if not more, than the late game weapons. Okay, floor number 5 complete. Yeah, now I really want to find a Governor's Sword now and see if it is a lot better. Because maybe that was something they just overlooked during this early access process. Alright, I've got my damage surge equipped. Let's get this guy to charge at me. Oh, I didn't get behind him. Whoops. Attack me. Go for it. See, look at that. He had a 3 motion attack pattern there, and from just dodging or blinking from the first one, I had ages of time to just walk up behind him and get that backstab. Like I said, I'm probably going to mention the blink quite a few times. Ow, buddy. Oh, that's interesting. So those like fireball attacks never actually used to add fire tick damage, but now they do. They used to just do physical damage, but now they actually do accumulate fire, which makes sense. It's kind of weird that it didn't at first, but that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, jump. Oh man, I blinked into him and stopped him moving forward. That's okay. Nice. This is another one of those floors where I have fallen off a fair number of times and died, so I need to be careful. Okay, there's still one enemy, so it's going to be up at the top here with these annoying casters. Okay, yeah, you need to. I've discovered you need to drop down to that lower level to avoid being hit by that fire attack. Okay, that's all the enemies done. Please, some silver. No silver, man. Okay. I know there's a couple random items you can find to the left there, but that's okay. I'm willing to risk missing out on some silver. Unlikely that it would be, given what we've seen. Alright, that's floor number 6. So this is the last floor before we head to the boss room. As you might expect, I will probably not be talking as much during the boss fight because it is really still very tricky. Yeah, I'll try to point out some things as I notice them. Especially for any of those of you who are watching these videos and are trying the game out for yourself and maybe finding it tough going or haven't fought the Echo Knight yet, managed to beat him. I'll definitely try and mention some things that... Oh, he got activated. Mention some things that I've found helpful. Again, the biggest thing I've found helpful with the Echo Knight is this blink, because being able to stop his tracking with some of his attacks is just incredibly useful, and even just to avoid some attacks, you know? Alright, that should be this floor done. And that's that. That is all the floors. So yeah, as I said, I should be pretty easily able to get to the normal floors. It's just the final boss fight that's tough. So what's important to know, oh, there's a couple of important things. Obviously, learning the patterns of the attacks is crucial to any game like this. But another really important thing to know is that this boss has 2 stages. And I'm not talking about like 2 stages on the initial health bar. I'm talking about once you get the health bar down, he transforms, or he doesn't transform, he's riding like a beast in this one. He hops off and then attacks you just by himself. And yeah, it's just important to know that so that you are prepared to deal with that as it comes along. What I'm going to do is I'm going to eat one of these sirloin platters so I can get that health fortification, and then I'm going to change so that it's my active one. I'm going to kind of let the timer go down a bit, and what I'm also going to do is reactivate my damage surge, use one of my potions, or vials, or whatever they're called. And that's honestly it. That's as ready as we're going to be. So I'm going to run into this boss fight. I'm probably not going to be saying as much because I'm going to have to really concentrate, as I said, but here we go. Okay, so what he normally does here is charges straight away. So I blink, and he misses. Oh, just got hit by that. Let's try to stagger him. Nice. Okay, so as you saw there, like using that spin attack was really, really useful for me getting that stagger off. Okay, let's drink the vial. You don't have to rush as well. Like, it's good to be pretty aggressive with this guy, but also, like, yeah, be clever. Don't take unnecessary hits like I'm doing right now. Yes, eat some food. Okay, this attack, what's important about this is just getting... So he does 4 kind of flame pits. You don't want to be hit by those, and you kind of want to keep them. Once you can recognize the attack, get him to create them on the edge of the arena. Because, yeah, they do a lot of damage, and you don't want to accidentally run into them. Oh, I don't have enough focus. Gotta keep remembering to drink those. Okay, what are you gonna... Oh, that stab attack. I get hit by so often. We're making decent progress, though. Ah, timed that wrong. That's okay. Oh no. Definitely gonna eat some food here. Okay. Okay, that's the first phase done. So now he's gonna hop off. When he lands, he deals plague damage to you. I've not figured out, I don't know if it's just like you gotta get the perfect timing. I've not figured out how you dodge that effectively. Okay. Ouch. Alright, so this one I found it's definitely important to just take your time. And yeah, don't take unnecessary hits. Kind of like I did there. Oh, wait, I thought I dodged that. Okay, that's okay. Get the food off. You can see the plague damage builds up really quickly. Does a lot of damage. I haven't managed to stagger him yet. But okay, we got to the second half of his health bar. Okay, we did the dodge at the right time there. Stopped his tracking. Thank goodness for Blink. At least for me. Oh, let's try get a stagger. There we go. Okay, I think we're going to be able to do this. As long as I'm not stupid from here on out, we should be fine. Oh, here's another thing he does where you just got to dodge as he slams this thing into the ground because he does 3 hits like that, and if any of them hit, they do a lot of damage and inflict a lot of plague. Need some focus. So it's really important to recognize when he's starting that one, and to just time your dodges with that. Okay, let me make sure I heal up. Oh, okay, dodged. And there we go. Okay, so yeah, like I was concerned I wasn't going to be able to do that, and it, as you can see, it's still pretty tough. I had to use 9 of my vials of focus. I had to use 7 of those platters to make sure that I kept my health up. But yeah, as you can see, once you start to do it a couple times and learn the attack patterns, especially, like I said, the one where he creates the fire in the first phase, or like when he's on his creature's back, and then in the second one when he's doing that slamming attack that creates the fire around him, that adds so much plague and it just takes your health very, very quickly. So if you can recognize those in particular, but of course everything else as well, and use your blinks, use your time, the normal dodges, then you'll be fine. But it is a tricky fight. He does a lot of damage. He hits very hard. Falling Sky. I haven't actually gotten this before, and I've heard good things about this, but it is an int weapon, yeah? So when you beat the Echo Knight, you always get 1 legendary item from him, and then I'll show you when I go to the next room. You get a bunch of chests, and there's 1 chest where you get another legendary item. So you always get 2 legendary items. I haven't managed in several fights to get the legendary one-handed sword, which is kind of annoying. I'm getting everything else, but not this one. Okay, so this does Ice Sweep, Hail, it's got Blink, and it's got Glacial Spike. Damage increased with max focus, stamina refill on focus use at empty stamina. Interesting. So if you've got empty stamina and you use focus, it instantly fills up your stamina. Let me equip it and see what this is like. Okay, I can do the blink, of course. This is just a sweeping attack. Oh, that costs 150. Interesting. This is... Okay, let me remind myself what those are called. That was Glacial Spike, and then... Oh, no, sorry, that was Hail. Glacial Spike is the one that costs a ton. So let me use one of these and try that out. So Glacial Spike. Oof. Yeah, that probably does a ton of damage. Okay, now I'm very intrigued to try an intelligence build because this is a really cool weapon. And of course you can do just normal attacks with it to build up your focus. And yeah, let me switch back to my sword. But yeah, really cool item. I might actually put that in my shared inventory and just keep it in case I ever play an intelligence build, and then I can try use it. But yeah, that's the boss fight. Glad I was able to finally show you that. My apologies again for not seeing it on my first time because I was just elated after that, but at least now you can see a bit of what it entails. It gives you a bit of a preview of the different phases and the attacks that he uses. He's a really, really tough opponent. Even for me, after having, I'm not outstandingly excellent at this game. My timings are off here and there, but using that blink and that dodge makes it so much more durable. But even then, and with my extra armor, even then, it's still a tough fight. All right, hopefully, so you get I think like 2 small chests, 2 large chests, and then the kind of big epic chest in the middle there. I'm really hoping for some silver. Nope. No silver for me, unfortunately. A golden band. I think that's what, extra intelligence or something? Yeah, I mean, experience. I don't know why I said intelligence. Yeah. Completely useless for me now. Okay, so I don't get the strength one. I got the Bleeder's Delight, which I've gotten 2 or 3 times now, actually. It's almost like the game knows I'm a strength build and will not give it to me. Okay, you get a bunch of silver, you get False Harbinger gauntlets. I don't. Well, I guess I could upgrade those. See if they're. No, because mine aren't even upgraded yet. Anyway, I don't need to talk about that. But yeah, you. Endless climbing. Yeah, you get a couple items. You always get a rune item in this chest, and silver, and a legendary item. Of course, I didn't get the one I wanted, but this is interesting. Attack speed increased by 15% for 10 seconds on kill. Chance to deal extra stagger damage on damage dealt. Interesting. And running will not decrease stamina. And of course, it's got all your rune attacks. That's the other thing that I find annoying about these legendary items is I can't, unless it's this falling sky staff, I can't have blink, and I need blink. So I guess we'll see if I ever manage to get the legendary one-handed sword, what that has. But if it doesn't have blink, then that's going to be a struggle for me. All right, let's just take that all. I'll probably end up selling it, except for that staff. And yeah, that is it. So I was glad I was finally able to show you guys what a full Crucible run looks like. Of course, the other thing that you get from defeating the Echo Knight is the Ichor. Where is that? Yeah, there we go. Ichor. The only thing I've left to get is just one more tool slot, so I'm one away from not needing Ichor anymore. So I'm kind of curious what they'll be used for once you get to that point. It would be kind of broken if it just added stats, so I don't think it's going to do that. So I feel like after I fully upgraded my inventory, is it just going to become a completely redundant item? Who knows? I guess hopefully Moon has some interesting ideas about what they want to do with it. But yeah, that's it for this episode. I really did just want to take a moment to come back to this game for a little bit, show you what the Crucible run looks like. We are still going to have to wait for more content, even though they just did a big patch, which changed a couple things. Don't think it added any content. It was more just that quality of life stuff and that the respecking thing, a couple other things. But I think that's it for now. We're still going to have to wait for more content. We'll definitely be back with that, as I said before. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it helps you get a sense of what the Crucible run looks like, and especially that boss fight, because that is, as I've said multiple times, that's a tough fight. And especially given that it's at the end of 7 floors. And once you die, you have to do that all again just to get to them. For me, at first, that was very frustrating. Now that I've done it a couple times, at least it means, I'm getting a lot of money. I'm hopefully finding useful items, finding the silver especially, all that kind of stuff. So the runs are still, they're useful as you do them more and more. But I hope that gives you a bit of help, maybe some ideas of what you want to do for your build. I think I found the build I'm going to stick with all gloopy here. But yes, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If you did like this, if it has helped you especially, please give the video a like. Please subscribe to the channel and comment down below. It's been great to interact with one or two of you as you've commented, and I really want to try keep doing that going forward. But please do that. Please comment down below, like and subscribe. That'll help me out a lot. But as usual, thank you for just being here and thank you for watching. And we will see you in our next episode, which won't be No Rest for the Wicked. I'm going to go back to Sea of Stars. I'm thoroughly enjoying that, and I'm going to keep going with that series. But we will be back with No Rest for the Wicked at some point. For now, though, I'll see you back in Sea of Stars, and thank you for being here. We'll see you in the next episode.